Are you looking for the ultimate pedal-friendly full-face helmet suitable for bike park laps, your enduro racing, or even just a typical all-mountain ride? Then Fox's ProFrame RS might be the helmet for you. We've been testing this for a couple of months now, and it's time for us to share our impressions with you. So keep on watching to find out how we got on. Yes, this is the race spec version of Fox's ProFrame helmet, designed by Fox to give the ultimate in pedal-friendly full-face performance for riders looking for the most safety for their enduro racing, your typical all-mountain rides, and it's DH certified, so you can rest assured that during your bike park laps wearing it, it's going to give you the protection that you need as well. Fox has given this a number of updates to really boost kind of all the factors that you'd be looking for in a pedal-friendly full-face helmet, from the protection itself to the breathability and the ventilation, and just generally the fit as well. They've really worked on. They've got a new fit system in there that we'll talk about in a little bit. There's a few major upgrades that Fox have included on the ProFrame RS to kind of contribute to making a better performing helmet all round. The first of which is a new MIPS system called MIPS Integra that, rather than add in a slip plane to the inside of the helmet, instead uses two different shells made of different types of foam, which are separated by elastomer woofers that allow the two shells to translate independently about 10 to 15 mil, reduce the peak rotational impact forces in a crash, and keep your head better protected. These two shells are made of different types of foam, like I said, the inner one being EPP and the outer one being EPS. So the EPP deals with lower speed impacts better, whereas EPS is designed for the high speed big stacks, and in combination should provide better protection all around for your head. The big other talking point really is the inclusion of a BOA fit system. So Fox have included a BOA dial onto the back, which tightens up a cradle on the inside like a kind of standard open face helmet would use, and this allows you to get a much more customized fit, tailored perfectly to your head, opposed to just using kind of a few different thicknesses of foam, which is the kind of existing ProFrame's method of getting that fit dialed in. Fox claims that this gives you 624 different fit combinations. There's 3 different shell sizes, and then you get different thickness cheek pads as well if you want to customize the fit of those. So all around, you should be able to get a better fit on the ProFrame RS compared to the existing ProFrame. And certainly most of us have found that that is the case. However, we'll talk in a little bit about some of the issues that we've faced with this helmet, and why we would certainly recommend, as with all protective gear, that you try it on before you kind of buy it. Third, and slightly less severe, but all the same, certainly very much appreciated, is the adjustable visor. So this now snaps between 3 positions, letting you get goggles stowed underneath the peak, or you know, it really slammed down to block out the sun, like I've got coming in from the left of me here. Yeah, while it's not a major feature, it's certainly something that's nice to see, and one of the complaints that we had with the existing ProFrame. Going on to the more kind of regular features that Fox has had previously, they've got their Ionic Plus kind of comfort liner on the inside. This is giving antimicrobial treatments and stuff to keep it from smelling as much when you use it. There's also a Fidlock buckle, which uses magnets instead of an actual physical kind of snap fastener, and makes kind of operation a lot easier. You can use it with one hand. With gloves, no bother, something that we really like. Fox is offering this helmet in 7 different colorways. Like I said, it's offered in 3 shell sizes, small, medium and large, that cover a 52 to 61 centimeter range. So if you've got a particularly big head, you might struggle to get one of these to fit, but certainly the wide kind of majority of riders should be able to get one to fit. And these retail for about £320 or $360, so it's certainly a premium helmet, but I think one that packs a lot of features to kind of justify that price. Now that's enough of the kind of tech talk. Let's get on to how it rides. So then, how does the Fox ProFrame RS perform out on the trails? One thing is for sure, the ProFrame RS fits very differently to the outgoing ProFrame or the cheaper ProFrame. It will still be in Fox's lineup, but I guess the focus is on the RS now as the kind of flagship in their range. Yeah, the fit with that BOA system is very different. Rather than being like a kind of standard downhill full face where you just swap out the different padding, it uses a obviously the BOA dial, and it fits much more like an open face helmet in terms of the feel around the top of the head. There's a lot less helmet in connection with your head, and also the sizing's changed up a little bit. So I'm typically a medium helmet across all of Fox's range and most other companies. I've got 56cm head, and the ProFrame RS medium size is said to go from a 56 to 58cm head. So I was always going to be on the lowest end of the BOA system, but it's certainly true that on this ProFrame RS, I'm at the absolute limit of the BOA system. I could not physically tighten it anymore if I wanted to get the helmet kind of cinched down on my head. So it's certainly worth trying on the helmet before you buy it, just to make sure that you do get the right size, especially if you're on the cusp between two different sizes. You might have to size down, but yeah, as with all protective equipment, it's a good idea to give it a try on before you buy it, just to make sure that that fit is spot on and it's going to do the best job possible at protecting your head. One of our testers, Sean, did complain of some hot spots when it was on his head, and it led to him getting headaches after a long time, especially when he was pedaling in it. So he's kind of reserved his ProFrame RS for days in the bike park when shuttling. The rest of the team's been quite comfortable with it, but yeah, certainly worth kind of giving it a go on, just to make sure that you don't have any of the same issues as Sean did. The BOA system, I think, is great. It's great to see on a full face helmet. It makes a lot of sense just to get that kind of micro adjustment to your head, but it does, the way that Fox has implemented it, it looks super clean and dialed, with the dial in the back of the helmet really nicely integrated. But the actual BOA system itself does sort of flap a little bit loose, especially when you've undone it. And I found a couple of times when I was trying to put the helmet on, especially with my long hair, things would kind of get a little bit tangled up if I wasn't actively pushing that BOA system out of the way of my head when I was trying to put on the helmet. So it's something worth mentioning. It's not a major issue. Once I figured out the kind of right technique to use my thumb to push the BOA out of the way as I put my head into the helmet, it didn't become a problem, but certainly worth noting. One of those slightly fiddly little things. I've not done a huge amount of testing in this helmet at high temperatures. Since I got the helmet, I don't think the temperatures in Scotland have risen above like 11, 12 degrees Celsius. So it's not been a great test of the heat management and the ventilation from my side of the pond. However, over in America, the rest of the team has been putting these to the test in temperatures up to sort of 25 degrees, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and said it is a really nicely ventilated helmet. And you know, certainly up until those temperatures, they'd be comfortable wearing it, whether it be pedaling or shuttling. And only once you reach that kind of 80 degree Fahrenheit mark, may it start to become a little bit too hot, and you'd be looking for something with even better ventilation. That said, I don't think there are many helmets, certainly in this category, that are going to breathe a huge amount better. So probably for those extra hot days, you would be looking to either keep yourself out of the sun on a shuttle bus, or use an open face helmet that's going to give you that extra little bit of heat management and breathability. I found the adjustable visor to be really useful. You can easily stow goggles underneath there, which I've been doing quite a bit because, I think the only acceptable choice of eyewear to wear with a helmet like this is a set of goggles. But what I did find is that the visor itself, making the adjustments, can be quite stiff. So unless you have the helmet really, really cinched down on your head, it can move the whole helmet when you try and move the visor. So it kind of requires two hands at times, or certainly one hand kind of doing the job of holding the helmet and popping the visor. Again, not a major issue, but just the way that it snaps into each position so solidly means that, it does kind of create quite a bit of resistance when you are trying to adjust it, but not a major issue again. Some of the testers did complain of the MIPS system inside squeaking initially, said that it wore off after the first few rides, maybe just needed to bed in, or get a little bit of dirt up in there to create, kind of get rid of that squeak. I didn't have any issues of the sort. The MIPS system is a lot more kind of solid feeling on top of your head. I've found other MIPS systems in the past, they can just let the helmet kind of quite freely rotate around your head, whereas on this ProFrame RS, I've not had any of these kind of issues. I really think the fit and the finish of the ProFrame RS is of the highest caliber. All around it just looks really kind of purposefully designed, really clean looking. The big chin bar I think is awesome, and there's also quite a good thickness of padding in there in between your kind of chin and the ground, which can only be good for protection if you do have a kind of really bad stack where you're putting it fully to the test. So overall, I really think it's great. You know, the fidlock buckle as well, really neat and nice to use. The padding's not kind of suffered from any smell after a lot of sweating in it. So all around, it's a quality helmet, and as long as the fit is going to be good for you, which, you know, as long as you try it on and you feel comfortable, then yeah, I think it's a really kind of neat helmet. It's a lot of money, but you get what you pay for. It's got the kind of highest level of protection you could expect, and yeah, a really nice fit and finish all around. I also think it looks fantastic, especially in this colorway, which is very kind of on trend and matching a lot of my gear at the moment, which is a plus. I hope you guys have enjoyed checking out this video. Let us know your thoughts on the ProFrame RS. Do you think it's a big improvement over the old ProFrame? Have you tried it on and experienced any fit issues yourself? Yeah, let us know in the comments, and we'll kind of take it all on board and see if we can answer any questions that you guys have. Give us a like if you've enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel to see more awesome content on awesome products like this. Thank you very much, guys. I'll catch you out on the trails.